Welcome back to Inside Indonesia, brought to you by the Jakarta Globe. Today we're talking about the film The Raid and the incredible reception it's received. It's become a phenomenon, a building phenomenon. We're with Gareth Evans over here, who's the director, who's a Welshman, transferred to Jakarta, and Joe Taslim, who's now a star as a result of this.
Thank you.
Do you get stopped in shopping malls now?
Sometimes, but yeah, it's...
But not for shoplifting or anything. I mean, you get stopped. I get stopped sometimes in shoplifting.
That's like another 5-10 years down the line.
I get stopped in shopping malls just because I look suspicious, but not for any other reason. But that must be kind of interesting. You start to be recognized in public as a result of this.
It's kind of weird, like, because I don't think I'm ready for this, because now get like mentions like every day, hundreds mentioned about why you this, why that, like comment about the movie and why you look blah blah blah. It's just like, oh, I don't know what to say. I cannot reply them all. It's just like weird.
You get a lot of Twitter messages and this kind of stuff. And
yeah, it's starting to get even bigger and bigger.
Wow,
yes,
there you go. Now, one of the things about this, of course, Gareth, is that the film has received overwhelming critical praise. The trailer showed us some of that. The best action movie in years, and a unique, exhilarating, et cetera, et cetera. 30 Floors of Chaos, however, is my favorite line. I might make that my Facebook status.
There you go. Or a bumper sticker.
There you go. But did you get any negative reviews?
Yeah, we had a few. Yeah, I mean, every film is going to have, you know, positive and negative comments, and you know, everyone's kind of entitled to those as well. And yeah. So yeah, it's all fun and games.
So my understanding is, now I'm not going to ask you, I know that you don't directly comment on reviews, but Roger Ebert.
Yeah, he's not one of our biggest fans.
He's not a fan. He's not a fan of the movie.
No. I think he wasn't quite enamored by the film as I kind of hoped he would be. But you know, I mean, it's one of those things where every person that watches the film, as soon as they pay for that ticket, they're entitled to say whatever they want to say about it.
Of course.
Everyone's entitled to tell you that it sucks or it's good, or, you know, we have to take the good and the bad together at the same time.
Well, I would think if I were a filmmaker and I could say everybody liked my film except Roger Ebert.
Yeah.
You think, well, okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
We'll get Ebert next time.
Yeah, maybe he'll like the sequel more. I don't know.
We'll get him next time.
It's a little bit more of the same, so probably wouldn't. But you know, you never know. I mean, these things
if you want to get Roger Ebert, you have to make kind of a romantic comedy / martial arts film.
Yeah. But I mean, like you gotta take
Tom Hanks and Eco or something like that.
Yeah, you gotta be willing to kind of how to say, in this industry when you make films, you gotta have thick skin. Like, you know, it's kind of like it's the equivalent of raising a child and then dumping them out in the world and telling everyone to judge it. So it's like it's a weird process, you know. Like, that is what it's doing, you know. Like, and you know, it's like for this film, I love it and hate it as much as anyone loves it or as much as anyone hates it. So there are things in there where I really want to change. There's things I really want to fix or do differently. But then there are things now where I'm very proud of as well. And as long as you're more proud than you are ashamed, then you can go away as a happy director and work on your next film and hopefully don't make the same mistakes twice.
And Joe, are you happy with your performance in the film? When you look at it, do you think you did okay?
A lot of people say it's okay, but
now, what do you say though?
For me personally, it's kind of weird to see myself, because I see everything. I see of course there's a weak point that just me that I understand maybe I should do that, do this, like maybe psychologically, because I'm seeing myself. But lucky me, like, yeah, most of my friends like it, especially my family. They love it.
Yeah,
that's good.
So it's all good.
It's one of those things as well. I think it's different when you're there watching the film with an audience, and if you've made it, you're not watching the film play. What you're watching is all of your memories of the shoot come back and haunt you. So it's like, you know, when we're in certain locations, and you know, like in the film, you know, like there's a sequence where they drop through a hole and there's a big shootout inside this one room. Everyone in the film is just watching that scene play out. All I'm thinking back is that we were in a badminton court in the middle of nowhere, where the heat was so hot that we were all almost passing out, and it was like, you know, above 40 degrees and stuff, and it was just a crazy experience. So, yeah.
When was the film actually completed?
We finished shooting in June last year, and then we edited through till I think like mid to late August, very late in August. So we were like 1 week away from Toronto. And then we finished post-pro. So it was really close to the line. It was right down to the last day.
And Sony Pictures Classics picked this up. When did they pick it up?
They picked it up while we were still shooting. We were editing footage while we were on location, because I tend to do that to be like a safety net to know that I got the action right. So I edit all the action scenes while we're shooting. And yeah, so we sent out footage to the Cannes film market. The idea was just to kind of get people interested in the film. But what happened was Sony took a look at it, like Scott Schumann from Sony, who was working there at the time, saw it, responded to it, and then got in touch then. And yeah, they picked it up from there. And then that kind of like started like a chain reaction of distributors suddenly, instead of just looking at it to get interested in it, started actually buying it. And so, yeah.
So you knew you were onto something even before you finished it?
Yeah, well, I was still kind of pessimistic. Because I knew that what we sent them was...
You're a Welshman. I
yeah,
mean,
I know. It's in my blood.
It's, you know.
So it was one of the things where like, I was kind of confident in what we had at that time that we sent there. But there was a whole other bunch of scenes that we hadn't edited or shot yet. And, you know, when you're in that position where Sony pick up your film and you're still shooting, the next day of work, then you're in the back of your head, you're like, oh, this is a Sony film. This is a Sony film. I better do this. What am I doing? And then you keep checking over, you question every decision you make. And then after a while, I just had to be, it started driving me nuts. So I was like, you know, I got to stop thinking like this. Just carry on making it the way I want to make it, because that's what they responded to. And hopefully that there are like-minded people out there who are going to get the same kick that I hopefully get. We're
almost at, we got some of the action sequences.
Yeah, you go.
This is the behind-the-scenes stuff, which is fantastic. We're almost out of time. Tell us what's next.
I'm working on the sequel to The Raid. So that's the immediate project. I'm going to do the sequel to The Raid. We're going to start shooting that in January next year. And I'm also working on developing something that I can do out in the US then after that. So my idea is to kind of stay in, my base will always be Indonesia. So I'm going to do a project in Indonesia, project outside, and then come back and forth, back and forth.
And what's next for Joe Taslim?
Next for Joe Taslim, like maybe next year I have some project, but still developing, nothing official yet. So yeah,
we're planning something for him.
There's
So we got a feature film that we want to do with Joe in the lead role.
Right.
So we're going to start preparing that hopefully for next year as well.
Well, I think there's big things coming for both of you guys. Gareth, you've launched your career with this film. Marintow was first, but this is really, I think, going to take off. And well, I'm delighted that Inside Indonesia has been able to have you on not once but twice.
I'm absolutely glad to be back. So
and Joe, thank you so much for being here. You've been watching Inside Indonesia, brought to you by the Jakarta Globe. The show can be watched by live streaming on beritasatu.com and beritasatu.tv and online at thejakartaglobe.com. Thanks for being with us.
Kedatangan tamu tak diundang. Selamat bekerja. Dan jangan lupa bersenang-senang.